Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be going over every quarterback camp battle from Jameis Winston versus Taysom Hill to, we already know the Drew Lock, Teddy Bridgewater situation, but also Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo, Justin Fields, Andy Dalton, and get into that. Okay, so starting right with the Denver Broncos, they decided yesterday that they're going to go with Teddy Bridgewater as their starter moving forward. And in this article from ESPN, it says, in what the Denver Broncos coach Vic Fangio called a really close competition, led to the tough decision of Teddy Bridgewater ultimately being the starter. Fangio told Bridgewater and Locke of his decision Wednesday morning, just before telling the rest of the team. And the Broncos acquired Teddy Bridgewater with a 6th-round pick in the offseason. So now Bridgewater will get the chance to start for this team. And they have a bunch of talented weapons on offense. So if Teddy B can push the ball a little bit more, I think this could be effective for their team. Taking a look at Teddy Bridgewater versus Drew Lock in terms of the Pro Football Focus stats through preseason week 2, you've got Bridgewater with 19 attempts to Drew Lock's 21. And when you look at the average depth of target, that's really what's different here between Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater. You've got 7 yards average depth of target for Teddy Bridgewater, and for Drew Lock you have 9.2, which is much nicer for an offense that has explosive players who can push the ball down the field. If it was me, I would have gone with Drew Lock. I think he would be the ceiling play for this offense, and Teddy Bridgewater really limits where they can go. Jerry Jeudy is a dude who can burn guys down the field. Teddy Bridgewater is not known as a deep ball specialist, so that doesn't interest me much. And then KJ Hamler, another speedster, doesn't fit Teddy Bridgewater. They do in a sense of run after catch. When you hit them for short yardage, they might be able to break away, but in terms of long passing game, you've got Drew Lock who can be much more effective. Adjusted completion percentage, you've got almost 90% to Teddy Bridgewater. Completing passes is what he does. So, it's just two different styles of offense. I personally would have gone with Drew Lock compared to Teddy Bridgewater just because of the ceiling play, like I said. And when you take a look at their actual stats in the preseason, this is from my Twitter, by the way, if you want to give that a follow, at RomeloB_sports. Preseason stats, you got Drew Lock 14 for 21 for 231 and 2 touchdowns. He had that first performance where he threw 2 deep touchdowns. I think his stat line was like 8 for 9 for 151 yards, which was crazy. And Teddy Bridgewater here was 16 for 19, 179 and 2 touchdowns. Extremely efficient. Teddy Bridgewater is going to get a chance with lots of explosive players in this offense. Jumping right into the 49ers situation, we've got Trey Lance versus Jimmy Garoppolo. Trey Lance has flashed in the preseason, but one thing that I would say is his receivers that he's working with are dropping a lot of balls, so you're not going to see anything eye-popping in completion percentage, but Trey Lance is a guy who's willing to deliver the ball down the field. If you take a look at the touchdown, the 80-yard touchdown throw, he looked past the check down that was wide open to Brandon Ayuk, decided to go for the bomb, and that is what's really going to be, beneficial for this 49ers offense. If they want to go for upside, again, it's the Trey Lance play. You're going to see a trending topic throughout this video. It's hard for the veteran to really play over a young guy with a ceiling that you just don't know yet. So, Kyle Shanahan came out saying he's not going to name the 49ers QB1, but he has a pretty good idea of who it'll be. And if I had to say, I'm going to go with Trey Lance week 1. I really thought Jimmy Garoppolo was going to be the starter, but the momentum that Trey Lance has gained throughout camp, working with the ones, people just talking about him, beat reporters in Niners camp, there's nothing but positive news coming out of there. They traded up to get this guy. It's really just a matter of when. Getting Jimmy out there week 1 is the safer play, just because if Jimmy messes it up, it's easy to bring in Trey Lance. Whereas if Trey Lance is the one who's struggling, you can't bring in Jimmy to come take over this team again. So I would probably start. I know I said I would go with Trey Lance as a ceiling play right now, but if you're going to be conservative and you're trying to do what's actually best for the team and see who is truly best for them right now, you've got to go with Jimmy G week 1. I would assume. This is a tweet from Grant Cohn, and it was a little snippet of Kyle Shanahan talking about Trey Lance in an interview, and he's like, he says, I'm just trying to get him better and get him ready for, and it just really seemed like he was going to say week 1 there, so I thought that was pretty funny. But again, this is Trey Lance's job. It's just a matter of when, and the upside of this kid is just unbelievable. As a 49ers fan, I couldn't be more excited. Get him in week 1, and let's see what we really have. 49ers head coach Shanahan on Trey Lance receiving reps with the starters. He said, I wanted him to be in there with, Joey Bosa rushing and going against Derwin James. And I think that's really beneficial for him, of course. And I don't think it necessarily points to signs of him being the starter, but, we really look forward to seeing Trey Lance in 2021. This is a stat that I just thought was interesting about Jimmy Garoppolo. And when you take a look at his career, he's played 7 seasons. I think 4 of them he was a backup, I want to say, in New England, but played more than 6 games one time his entire career. He's threw 1,600 passing yards once, threw 8+ TDs once, and he's never hit 4,000 yards or 30 touchdowns. The 49ers traded 3 first-round picks for Trey Lance, and, Jimmy G is remaining the starter, and 49ers fans are, ready to hear Trey Lance's name. So I just thought these were some interesting stats to point out. Jimmy G hasn't been healthy the past couple seasons. I do think he's an average quarterback in the NFL, but he needs weapons around him, and I don't think he's going to be too good on his own. Mac Jones versus Cam Newton. This is this is probably the second most anticipated just result that people are waiting on, other than Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston. Mac Jones kind of has the leg up right now due to Cam Newton. He's an unvaccinated player. He was exposed in some way, and due to the NFL protocol, had to be away from the team for 5 days. Now, that's 5 practices where Mac Jones gets to work with the ones. Plenty of veterans in that organization has come out and talked about Mac Jones. James White, Kendrick Bourne talked about how he turns the offense into a real team, and he makes sure that guys are in the right positions before this play, even during the play. And they say he's a real leader out there. And James White also came out saying positive things about him. So with Cam being out due to COVID, it really gives Mac Jones that leg up, even though Cam performed pretty well just this past preseason game. I would say it was even, but him missing time, puts Mac Jones in the driver's seat, if you ask me. And if you take a look here, Patriots Beat believes that Mac Jones has won the QB job already. We'll see if they say something before the 3rd preseason game, but that's nothing you can really argue with. Patriots rookie quarterback Mac Jones put on a clinic in joint practice against the Giants with Cam Newton away from the team Wednesday. So, like I said, with Cam Newton gone, Mac Jones has a real opportunity, and it seems like he's taking full advantage of it. He said, I've heard all kinds of beat reporters from New England talking about how Mac Jones had his best practice yet against the Giants, and the Giants have a pretty solid defense. So, I think that's notable, and Mac Jones is clearly in the driver's seat for this job. When you take a look at their numbers against the Eagles, Mac Jones was 13 for 19 for 146 yards, 0 touchdowns. I want to say he got 1 or 2 more drives than Cam as well, but Cam finished 8 of 9, 103 yards, 1 touchdown, pretty much perfect, and his arm looked a lot better than it has the past few years. So it looks like right now Mac Jones is slightly ahead, but Cam Newton did return to practice today, so there's a chance, he evens it up if he comes and lights it up out there. And here's another report about Mac Jones. It said that Mac Jones has earned the right to be the Patriots' Week 1 starter. There's pretty much no on-field reason for Cam to ever step into the starting role. This beat reporter believes, and this is from NBC Sports Boston, but Mac Jones and Cam Newton is a battle, and it looks like Mac Jones has pretty much won it. Next quarterback controversy we have is in Chicago between Justin Fields and Andy Dalton. It's not really a controversy because Matt Nagy has said that he's going to go with Andy Dalton the entire season, which is pretty whack, but they brought him in and promised him the starting job, not thinking Justin Fields was going to fall to them in the draft like he did, so be it. And when you take a look at the schedule, it's setting Andy Dalton up for failure, and they play the Rams week 1. I'm not sending out Justin Fields, my first-round pick, to start against the Rams, so I'm fine with that. Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, and company should destroy the Bears, so I'm fine with them not using him week 1. I understand it in that sense. Maybe, Andy Dalton does terrible and, you just take him out from there. So their schedule's not easy in the beginning. You've got the Rams, maybe another shot after that. I'm not sure who they play in week 2 exactly, but I know it's a pretty good team. So Andy Dalton being the starter doesn't mean much to me. Again, it's a matter of time before Justin Fields steps in. When you take a look at their last preseason game, Andy Dalton did outperform Justin Fields. You could argue with 11-17, 146 yards, a pick, and a touchdown. Justin Fields going 9 for 19, not the best completion percentage, 80 yards, but also 46 rushing yards. Nothing too impressive out of either of these guys to, move a leg up in front of the other. But Dalton has been pronounced the starter for week 1. He won't be playing in the week 3 preseason game, and Justin Fields will be starting that. So he could potentially play a full half, and I'm excited to see that. So, we'll get to see a full half of Justin Fields, and I think we're going to be impressed again. He's obviously good, and the Bears actually made a nice pick grabbing him. Saturday will be an opportunity for Justin Fields, but not quite an audition. Again, this is just because they've already said Andy Dalton's going to be the starter. If Justin Fields throws for 250 yards and 3 touchdowns in the first half, it's not going to change in Matt Nagy's mind. So you've got Andy Dalton going into the season, again, facing the Rams week 1. I expect Justin Fields to be in there by week 4 at the latest. Last but certainly not least is the Saints quarterback competition between Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill. We've got quite the matchup there. I think the coaching staff really, really loves Taysom Hill for some reason. I think Jameis has obviously been the better quarterback for the past 2 seasons. I don't understand the love affair with Taysom Hill. I definitely don't understand paying him, but this is a competition. Jameis goes perfect in the first quarter, 9 of 10, 123 yards and 2 touchdowns. After that, Taysom Hill steps in and plays okay, but nothing to note. And Sean Payton still refuses to name the starter after the game. So, this one is question marks to me. It's got to be Jameis, in my opinion. They have hardly anything to work with at receiver, so you can use Taysom Hill though as that kind of Swiss Army knife. Use more of him in the offense, not as a quarterback. I don't think he needs to play quarterback this season. Jameis Winston should be the starter, in my opinion. But like I said, despite Winston's success against the Jaguars, Sean Payton's not naming a starter. And this is just an impressive stat from Jameis. When you take a look at the list of quarterbacks who have achieved a 5,000-yard passing season by the age of 25, it's him, it's Patrick Mahomes, it's Jameis Winston, and Dan Marino and Stafford. That's an elite list to be a part of. Jameis has elite arm talent. If he fixes his mistakes, he's going to be a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. So if he can cut down on interceptions, even just to 15, cut him in half from the 30 he threw the last time he started, the Saints are going to be a much better team with Jameis Winston at the helm. That's going to do it for today's episode. I appreciate everybody who tuned in. Please follow, not these social links, these social links over here. If you could give me a follow, I'm trying to post more and more on my Twitter, on my Instagram, on my Facebook page, and the podcast still comes out every day, so take a look at that on Anchor, on Apple Podcasts. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe.